Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The Indians continue to pound away at Minnesota, and I don't care if it's at the expense of the lowly Detroit Tigers. By the way, the Twins are only 6-3 against Detroit. The Indians have a secret weapon on their side in their quest for a fourth straight Central Division title. No, it's not Corey Kluber. No, it's not Carlos Carrasco. It's not even Tyler Naquin, nor the squeeze bunter Mike Freeman. The secret ingredient is third baseman Jose-Ramirez, who finished in the top 5 MVP voting each of the last 2 years. He's now hit safely in 9 straight games, and I don't think it's a fluke. Just one more reason to think the Indians will overtake the Minnesota Twins, and sooner rather than later. The D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine on a Thursday night, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 23rd consecutive year, soon to be 24th, and you're seeing it exclusively on cleveland.com. The D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff from WTAM 1100. Heard him the other night on the rain delay radio. Did a great job as always. Welcome back.
It's good to be back, especially when the Indians are winning, chopping wood, chopping games off that
Do you care
deficit.
if it's just the Detroit Tigers?
Never have. I've always maintained you play what's on your schedule on a given year. You can't control it.
And you're hoping you're hot when you are playing those bad teams.
Sure, but I mean, what do you want the Indians to do? Cancel the games because they're against bad teams? Here's the other thing.
Well, wait. If you lose them, people say, oh, you can't even beat the Detroit Tigers.
Well, true. But when I was a kid, no American League East team was sending me an apology for beating up on the lowly Indians when they would come into Municipal Stadium and break my heart with a 10-0 win. I didn't get any apologies because the Indians were sad sacks.
No question about it. Got an email I want to get to right here. Cleveland Bill wrote in. The other night we talked about Zach Plesac and the incredible pitch, his pickoff move is 5. And somebody called and said he should intentionally walk everybody and then pick them off. And Bill noted, as we had talked about, that would mean he'd pitch a no-hitter without ever throwing a pitch because batters can now be walked on the ball 4 signal. And by the way, Anthony Lima was here last night, and he said, I didn't want to see, the other night when Plesac had a no-hitter for 3 innings and then had to be removed, he says, there hasn't been a no-hitter in Cleveland for an Indians pitcher since Len Barker, and he doesn't want it to be a combined no-hitter if it does happen. He wants to see a full 9 innings. You agree or disagree, or doesn't it matter?
Of course the preference is one guy, but I'd like to see a no-hitter regardless.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. Lots to get to. Indians now only 4 games back from the Twins. Twins surprise loss yesterday.
The Twins
they had
playing this afternoon so the Indians can pick up another game.
Right.
The Mets come in. Mickey Callaway's beleaguered Mets and take 2 out of 2.
They were down 3-2 late in the game, and it turned out to be 14-4.
Yeah, I'm sure Mickey Callaway or the Francona sent Callaway a thank you note. Now the Twinkies have 4 against Oakland.
Who need them?
And Oakland's doing what it does in the second half under Bob Melvin. It's red hot, and so the Indians and A's are the 2 hottest teams in the league. But yeah, I mean, you're rooting now. You know, I said before you root for the realistic option. Well, a few weeks ago, the realistic option was the wild card. So you rooted for any and all teams that were playing the wild card contenders.
Such as Tampa Bay and New York today.
Yeah, and such as Minnesota against a wild card team.
Right.
That was back then. Now, with the division very much in in play, you root for anybody playing the Twins.
Of course. All right, Jose-Ramirez. Well, here's the AL Central race. Back on June 2nd, the Twins had a 40-18 record. They led the division. The Indians were a game under 500. They led by 11.5 games in the division. Minnesota has gone 18-18 since then. They own a record of 58-36. Cleveland has gone 25-10 since then, and they own a record of 54-40 or fight. Right. 4 games, smallest deficit since May 4th.
Yeah, and you know, they're doing it team-wide. This is a full roster contribution situation. You don't have 2 or 3 guys carrying the club.
Right. How about Mike Freeman?
Well, there you go. You said with his drag bunt. You have a few guys having tremendous years. Don't get me wrong. Carlos Santana, Frankie Lindor, All-Star Shane Bieber, Brad Hand, All-Star as well. Lindor, an All-Star. And Roberto Perez. But they're not carrying the team. This is a team-wide, full roster contribution to this.
What do you think of jose-ramirez? 9-game hitting streak. He looks like he's got a different swing on the ball, or his hips are moving differently than they did. Here's what he's done in this 9-game hitting streak. He's 14 for 37, 378 average, 5 doubles, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, and 9 runs scored. That's the Jose-Ramirez we've seen the last couple of years.
You know how I measure Jose-Ramirez, Les? A decidedly non-scientific analysis. His post-game interviews with Andre Knott. Okay? I can tell when Jose's right and how he talks to Andre. And last night, the old Jose-Ramirez was talking to Andre Knott. The Ramirez who says, I know what I'm doing out there, and I'm good, and you got to try to stop me. We're starting to see that again. Now, granted.
It's like adding a new guy at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he's feasting on some bad pitching. We get it. And he's made a lot of money this year off Detroit pitchers' backs or arms. But I'm seeing passes at the ball that I hadn't seen since before August of last year.
Absolutely. And he's hitting it, he's yanking it down the right field line. He's got, for some reason, Detroit is playing him with the right fielder almost in right center field, and he can almost walk around the bases when he hits it down into the corner.
Yeah, he's dropping the bat head on the ball like he used to.
All right, so what are we seeing with the Indians? Are we seeing bad team that they're playing? Are we seeing a team that has come alive and they're the good team right now? Or is it just part of the schedule that has its ups and downs?
It's ups and downs, but it's also more ups than downs because Terry Francona does not allow this team to careen off a cliff. He just doesn't. You look at his history as an Indians manager.
And Boston.
This team, certainly Boston with the championships. But with the Indians, he limits losing streaks. His team does not take itself out of a race, okay, by losing 7 in a row and 11 of 12.
He is
or
also
6 in a row and 10 of 11.
He's also almost uncanny on how he handles the bullpen. I mean, he knows exactly when to bring guys in, and you want to say, come on, let the other guy pitch, and then he comes down and shuts him down.
Another thing, Les, the underrated guys getting a day off, and such as with Frankie yesterday.
Yeah,
DH. Keep his bat in the lineup, get him off his feet. You watch what he does the next 2 games. He might even donate. I mean, as badly as the Indians need it, he might donate if he feels like his players are melting on the field. I mean, I'm not talking about tonight, but when it's supposed to be 100, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
You know, he may very well look at a guy and go, you know what? This guy needs to get off his feet.
Yeah.
It's possible.
That he knows. 216-575-0403. Email us during the show. real-les-levine@gmail.com. Dennis Manoloff is with us. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. We're going to get Mike Macetta from Nature Zone coming up. We're going to find out what Mike's thinking and what you're thinking. Line up the calls right now at 216-575-0403. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a moment exclusively here on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Today is July 18th. Born on this day, Joe Torre, great manager, rocked the boat from 1947. Penny Hardaway, Torrey Hunter, and Dion Branch, along with Derek Dietrich, all born on the 18th of July. We're going to bring in Mike Masetta to find out what Mike is thinking from Nature Stone. Wow, it's Nature Stone. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Les. How are you tonight?
Good. D-Man Dennis-Manoloff is here. You know, it's Joe Torre's birthday, and I have a very famous story about Joe Torre, who was a terrific catcher, mostly with the St. Louis Cardinals. And one time he was catching a game, and Willie Mays was coming around third base, coming to score the winning run. And Joe Torre kind of chickened out. He tried to sweep tag on Mays, and Mays with the high spike slid in under the tag for the winning run. And when the game was over, Torre walked off the field, and some fans said, "What's the matter? Are you chicken catcher, Torre?"
That's better than one of your how come quickies.
Well, maybe it's no. D-Man made no movement at all, no motion, nothing. I heard Mike laughing, and I looked over, and D-Man never made a move. But that's okay.
Well, that's because I'm Italian, so I get the joke.
Excellent, very good. All right, tell us what you're thinking. Obviously, the Browns getting ready to go in a week, and they're going to steal a lot of thunder from the Cleveland Indians, but the Indians making the noise right now. What are your thoughts as you're following this team this week?
Well, following the Browns or following the Indians?
No, following the Indians now, because they're the team making the move.
Well, you know, we've been saying this for a while now. They got into that easy part of their schedule, and they're making the most of it. And I think they're 4 games back heading into tonight. And, you know, the Twins have another tough matchup, and they're not playing particularly well, except for against the Indians. And the Indians have another game against Detroit, and it could very easily be a three-game lead going into next week.
Yeah, I want to get greedy. I don't want to just catch him, because the Indians will then have the tough schedule, and Minnesota the easy one. I want to catch him, and I want to run out about 3-4 game lead on them.
You have to. That's exactly what they have to do. They can't. You know, you can't take Sundays off and you know, rotate guys around and that type of thing right now. You got to get after it. You got to get that lead, and then you know, hope that when you play Minnesota, you know, you can pick up 2 games from the series instead of giving them 2 games and letting them get a game back on.
Well, you still have 10 games between the 2 teams. D-Man said, however,
right,
if you've got 100 degrees over at Progressive Field, you may have to rest some people.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be like 112 on the heat index tomorrow?
Ouch.
That's crazy.
Wow. All right, what did you think? Bobby Bradley was sent down, and I know the Indians needed him, but he didn't supply with what they thought. He'll be back, won't he?
Well, Bobby Bradley has a really good swing, and I think that we saw, you know, what his power is like when he hit that home run the other day. I would imagine that he would be back at some point, although he wasn't producing right now, and they needed production right now, and they also needed to bring Plesac back. So it just made sense to send Bobby Bradley back, although I don't think that's the last that you'll see of him for sure.
All right, I got an idea.
I also think that jose-ramirez is starting to get hot.
Yeah. All right, I got an idea here, Mike. If the wind index is, or the heat index is 112, I would let Bobby Bradley be the DH, let him bat 4 times, swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss. It'll bring that heat index down a little bit.
Yeah, you'll get a nice big breeze going on right throughout the stadium.
Right. Well, it'll be nice. Yeah, go ahead, D-Man.
Mike, who's been your biggest surprise for the Indians this year that has led to this resurgence?
Oh, the biggest surprise, I would probably say Tyler Naquin. Tyler Naquin has been hitting the ball all over the ballpark for about the last 2 weeks now. and he's really been in the heart of a lot of their rallies and a lot of their production offensively. And that really was the difference between them winning and losing. Their pitching has always been pretty good. Their bullpen has been outstanding this year, which is another bit of a surprise with the new names in there. But a single guy, I would tell you, the season that Tyler Naquin's having, especially this recent run, has been huge for them, in my opinion.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
I just wonder why they ever pitch him below the waist. He can't hit a ball above the waist, and he can hit the ball off his toes, which he's been doing, and they continue to pitch down there. I have a dilemma. I'm on the verge of getting him back in my good graces. What should I do here?
Naquin.
Yeah. Naquin was this year's Casey Blake and
Chisenhall.
Yeah. But you're right, Mike. He's helped quite a bit.
That's a good one, Mike. So is Roberto Perez. Just the offensive aspects of his game. I never saw the home run pop coming. I know some of his teammates did. They were insisting he's a, regular catcher in waiting, but I wasn't so sure, and he's been a pleasant surprise.
Well, yeah, and then you wonder, can he keep that going the whole season? Which, you're catching almost every day. That's so tough on the knees and wear and tear on the body. And he's taken a couple of hits on close plays at home plate in last week or two. What do you think, Mike? You're a former baseball player, and D-Man follows the game as much as anybody. What do you think about that rule that you can't block the plate or you can't have contact? What do you guys think about that? Dennis, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the catcher has got to leave the runner some part of the plate to get to. Now, my understanding is while the ball is en route to the catcher, as long as the catcher doesn't block the plate, he's okay. Once he receives the ball, then he can do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
So I'm okay, I guess, with that, as long as we don't have a Jake Marisnick on Jonathan Lucroy.
That was pretty ugly. Mike, what do you think about that rule?
Well, similar to what D-Man said, I like the rule, and the fact that it's trying to keep the players healthy, I think is a good thing. The problem that I have with it is that it's very subjective. It's at the umpire's discretion. So I know what the rule states, but it doesn't always work out that way. And so, if the throw is pulling the catcher into the runner and he's got to move to catch the ball, that's where it becomes a little bit of a quandary. And, does the catcher just stand there and the ball has to go past him? Or if he moves and he ends up blocking the plate, but that's where he had to go to catch the ball?
Well, right.
Is that illegal?
Right, Mike. To what you just said, the second scenario you just said was what happened with Roberto Perez earlier in this series, the first game of the series. Yeah. Perez did not initially block the plate. I can't remember who the runner was. And he went to get the ball, and once he got it, he blocked it so much that the runner had no choice but to run into him.
Right, but if he had stayed there without getting off the path to get the ball, then he would have been wrong by the new rule. All right, Mike, any thoughts now the Browns open up next week with the training camp, and we'll probably be talking to you Monday, but do you have any different thoughts than you had on them, or are you just excited to see it happen?
Just excited to see it happen. Let's get it started and see what they got. The thoughts will come when we see them out there and they start making mistakes, and everybody says, "Oh no, they're not as good as we thought they were." But I think that they'll be fine. I think that it's a real good team, and we're looking forward to that.
One question about you and your son. The Browns have not been very good over these years, and your son is how old now? 11.
He's 11. Yeah.
11. Did he take up for another team while giving up on the Browns, or is he stuck with the Browns all the way through here?
If I may tell one quick story about my son, one time I was invited to Pittsburgh to go to a Steelers game, and my son used to bust my chops all the time and tell me how he was going to be a Steelers fan. So when I was out at their stadium out there in Pittsburgh, they were playing the Browns, obviously. I bought a terrible towel and brought it back just to kind of bust his chops. I gave it to him while he was sleeping. I got home late, gave it to him, woke him up, and handed it to him. he looked at me and started crying. I said, "What are you coming for?" He said, "Dad, I hate the Steelers. Why would you give me this?" And I said, "I love you, son." I gave him a big hug and threw it away.
He thought you've gone to the other.
My son loves the Browns. We raised him that way, and he's a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Well, he thought you went to the dark side, but apparently you did not.
No, he did not. It was all in jest, but he was a little bit younger. He didn't take it that way.
All right, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, wow, it's Nature's Stone. Thanks, Mike.
All right, guys. You guys take care. Thanks a lot.
All right, that's what's Mike thinking. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Catch the excitement of live harness racing, and that's of course at Northfield Park every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday evening. Post time 6 p.m. And of course, it's open early every day at noon for simulcast action from all over the world. The weekly Sunday contest, top prize $500 each week in cash. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Coming up, Baker Mayfield. He's a quarterback for the Browns, is he not? He's back in the news. Or his mouth is back in the news. We'll take a break. Come on back in a moment with the D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature's Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty, moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature's Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature's Stone installed by the end of July and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
We'll have some listener quickies a little bit later, but here's one for tonight. How come if a fast food restaurant offers free refills, why would anybody order a large or medium drink? D-Man, any thought on that? Order a small, pay less money, and keep loading up. It's my advice. My advice to the millennials. You know, I ought to do that. Here's Les Levine with advice for millennials. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We, of course, have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Ron, a good contributor, checks in. Let's hear what he has to say. It is Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Les, the Cleveland Browns. Yes, no games have been played yet, but there's a lot of talk going on. And yes, there's nothing for certain except for one thing. In the NFL today, your most important player is quarterback. We have Baker Mayfield. He has known adversity all his life and made a positive out of it. Mistakes as a team will happen this year, but with him as leader, adjustments will be made immediately and turn into positives. I feel very confident about this season.
All right, Ron, thank you very much. What do you think?
I'm excited about the season too, but, you know, you got a ways to go first before.
Well, Baker Mayfield's the man. Baker talked today about Odell Beckham, as well as the Giants and as well as the Cleveland Browns. He said Beckham is here to work and he wants to be surrounded by people who love him and support him and will allow him to be himself. He's here to play in front of fans who actually care, who will actually show up for every game and will pack the stadium and love him for who he is. What does that mean to you?
You know
Get
what?
anything out of that?
The off-season's too long, Les.
You know,
it's too long.
when the season ended, the first leading up to the draft, we had stuff going on every day, and now we haven't had much. So now everything is news. That's not news.
No. We need training camp.
You know what's news? He's on the cover of ESPN the Magazine, which I thought went out of business 2 months ago. There he is with the dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, as a member of the media, we should always want athletes to talk, but
not like that.
Come on now. I mean, enough.
What are they setting him up for? It's like Odell Beckham has done something to offend Browns fans, and now he's protecting him before he needs to be protected. He weathered the storm about not showing up for the OTAs, right? Or not the OTAs, but the non-mandatory ones. That's fine. People didn't like it, but that's fine. What are they setting up to protect? I mean, Odell was mad at somebody, so he didn't show up for training camp. Well, okay. Which was it? Was it Dorsey you were mad at? Was it Jimmy Haslam? Was it Freddie Kitchens? No, he shouldn't have been mad at anybody.
Yeah, you would think he would have come in with a clean slate, but and there's also this Hugh Jackson stuff that's still around.
And why is that? He again spouted off. Whenever Baker goes nationally, he's got to take a shot at the Hugh Jackson. Why doesn't he just put it in the rearview mirror?
That should be old news. He shouldn't worry about Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
So.
All right. What are your thoughts? Well, it's too long, but it's going to end in a week. So what are you thinking? What's your thinking now as we head to it? Have an exhibition game coming up in 3 weeks?
I mean, I'm excited because training camp means the season's just around the corner.
Right. And you won't see much of Baker, right? In the exhibition games?
No. I mean, no, I wouldn't expect it. Even though he's a gamer, those guys are not going to play much. The regulars. So, I can't wait. I mean, but I guess the reason I'm hesitant, Les, is because I've heard so much talk about the Browns. I'm almost like,
show me.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit nervous about all of the adulation that's being heaped on.
Well, I'll give you an example. We're going to be checking in the next segment, and we'll evaluate the defensive line. You know what? How you evaluate it? You watch them play actual games. To sit here in the middle of the month before they've even shown up at Berea and start assessing the defensive line and every other facet of this Browns team, I think at this point is a waste of time. I know you needed to keep talking about it to keep them in the public eye, but now is the time to just let it happen and start playing some football games. In the meantime, you can send us a voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can do that. You can call any time, as Ron did, and the number he called was 216-200-6650. Call any time to leave a message. We'll use it on a future show. And, of course, we can be seen live from 6 until 7, Monday through Friday, with Dave Bacon doing that show. And, of course, Monday through Friday from 6 until 7. You can archive it and watch it all day and all night and find out any other episode that we have done right here on cleveland.com. When we do come back, we will evaluate the defensive line with Dennis-Manoloff. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
By the way, I had the Smiley One guys out today to check my air conditioning. Perfect shape, terrific guys at Smiley One. This date in sports history is the 18th of July. Bob Allison in 1962, Bob Allison and Harmon Killebrew each hit grand slam home runs in the first inning. Minnesota Twins beat the Cleveland Indians by a score of 14-3. That's a rarity. Maybe not against the 62 Indians.
Did the Twins apologize for beating the Indians that day?
No, I don't think they did. All right, let's check out NFL.com. They check the deepest position groups. They start with the rush defense, the pass rush rankings, and defensive line and the strengths of the team as far as the Browns are concerned. The different position groups. So here you have it. NFL.com says the Ravens' secondary is the best in the game. You like them? You agree with that?
It's not good news.
No, it's not good news. The Bears' front seven is number 2. Cowboys' linebackers, number 3. Cowboys' offensive line, number 4. And the Browns' defensive line.
Meanwhile, yet another list where the Patriots are not in the top 5. They just sit there and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. By the way, deepest position groups. I assume quarterback was under consideration, right?
As a position group?
Right?
Well, as the most important position group in the game.
You would think Patriots, number 1. Everybody else, number 10.
You know what? That's like you look at a baseball lineup and both teams line up and say, all right, well, our number 1 hitter is better than their number 1 hitter, which means absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Means nothing at all if you don't have the pitching.
The Patriots just laugh when all these lists come out and they're not on them. And next thing you know, they're in the Super Bowl and they're winning.
All right, Pro Football Focus got in on the action. They looked at the run defense rankings. Let's see what they had to say there.
See, are the Patriots on that list?
I don't see them.
No.
I see the Browns as number 14. I see the Bears number 1, Houston 2. The New York Jets 3. New York Jets shouldn't be 3 in anything. New Orleans Saints 4 and the Detroit Lions in the number 5 position, all according to Pro Football Focus. Boy, you hit it right on the head. If Tom Brady isn't there, New England Patriots aren't there.
Yeah, again, Belichick and Brady, all they do is win. They just win. Now, granted, I've said this before, and I get yelled at. How can you compare the Browns or the Indians to the Patriots? I'm not doing that here. I'm simply saying that when the Patriots beat up on the tomato cans in the AFC East, nobody says anything when they win another AFC East title,
you rarely
and it helps them get the number 1 overall seed.
They almost get 6 automatic wins going against Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets.
Based on the way those 3 teams have been since Belichick and Brady arrived, you're pretty much accurate.
None of those other teams are going to take 5 out of 6 from their own conference, own division.
If only Brady knew how to play in Miami, because that's the only place he has a stumbling block.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. But, I mean, come on. The AFC East is a joke. Don't tell me that it's a joke just because the Patriots make it a joke.
You're right. It gives them almost 6 automatic wins, gets them the home field advantage, and probably most likely a bye in the first round.
Helps them toward a bye. That limits the number of games they have to play.
Right. They only have to win 2, and they're both at home.
Plus, they're at home. But nobody ever says, well, the Patriots benefited from the cupcakes in the AFC
Although,
East.
wasn't Kansas City the home field this past year?
Yes. This time, Belichick had to go in there. And by the way, I argued that even though I believed that the Patriots would win, and they did, I felt like the Chiefs got robbed. I thought that in overtime, each team's offense and defense should be on the field for at least one possession.
Absolutely. All right, the defensive line strength is the Browns' defensive line. The strength of this team, Pro Football Focus had this to say about the Cleveland Browns. All right, they've got the top pass rushers, Philadelphia number 1, Jacksonville number 2, Cleveland Browns number 3, and again, New England isn't on this one, the Los Angeles Chargers number 4, and the Houston Texans number 5.
I mean, based on what the Browns have on the bookends with Garrett and Vernon, and then the middle with Richardson and Ogunjobi, And who knows, you rotate in Avery here and there and whatever else they have on the. It looks tremendous to me. Their defensive line.
And also, you got to assume John Dorsey's going to find somebody else after one or two exhibition games, I would think. People dropping off teams.
Yeah, and you never know. Is everybody going to stay healthy for the whole year?
Sure. No,
but
that
it helps
you
to
never
have
can
depth.
know. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Sokolowski's University Inn. Getting ready on Sunday for the Taste of Tremont. They'll be over by the Tree House in Tremont and serving up the great batches of pierogies and some of the Salisbury steak and whatever they've got at Sokolowski's, and they've had it since 1923. And it's the Taste of Tremont, 11 in the morning till 8 in the evening. That's this Sunday in Tremont. Check it out. Sokolowski is a proud member of that organization in that area. All the great dining places in Tremont, there's none better than Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. When we come back, we'll check out the Facebook question of the day, find out what you people had to say about it. How come quickies a little bit later? More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of July and save up to 50%. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
D-Man, let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine sports history. July 18th, 1965, Les played for the Go team, and a player was a single shy of the cycle. Les said the cycle would be more memorable in later years than 4 extra base hits, so he told the guy if he hit a gap shot, he should trip over first base and then hobble back to the bag for a single. It apparently worked. It was memorable because 55 years later, they're still talking about it. It was a measly four extra base hits, it wouldn't have happened. This being the last live show of the week, let's check the week in review. July 15th, 1968, Marty, Les's fraternity brother, is fixed up with a date. A girl comes out of the elevator, sees him, and says, "Are you Marty?" And he looks at her and says, "How soon do you need to know?" And he ran off to the nearest exit sign. Then on Tuesday, in a feat nearly as good as Joe DiMaggio's, Les hits a foul ball in 56 straight Little League games. How about that for a hitting feat? And finally, on Wednesday, we look at this one. No, we don't. Okay.
I guess we don't.
They didn't tell me, or I didn't hear it. All right, we do want to listen to voicemail of Truth and Reason from North Canton. We bring you Ken and his comments.
This is Ken from North Canton. Dennis, a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about player movement during free agency in the NBA. In 3 or 4 years, the CBA in the NBA comes up for expiration. Do you foresee any movement by the owners to get some power back to curtail some of the movement from the NBA players? And if so, if they do try to do that, you foresee maybe a big labor strike if they try to do it?
All right, Ken, thank you very much.
You know, a local team, you lose one player, now you become Sacramento East. Thank you.
All right, so here's the problem. If the owners did what the players did, they'd be in trouble with collusion with the commissioner. the players in the NBA stack their teams or their teammates, and that seems to be okay with a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle. When players get the amount of power that they've gotten, and I want to say it was since LeBron and the Heat. Maybe it happened before that, but as far as I can remember,
same here.
It really took off. If it started earlier, fine, but it took off under LeBron and the Heat. Once players get that kind of power, they're not giving it back.
No.
All right? Unless you have a catastrophic work stoppage. But here's the reason why I don't think you would have a work stoppage. The owners are laughing, or in this case crying, because there's no parity, there's lack of parity. They're crying all the way to the bank, all right? If the player power was directly tied to dramatically decreasing revenues, then you're messing with the owners. But even the owner of the perennial dog team in this association, and we know there are many.
Yeah, but it's the Knicks.
Who for decades don't get to the playoffs, or if they do, they're one and done.
Right.
Even those owners are bathing in cash. When they turn the shower on, $100 bills are shooting out of the shower
Well, that's
head.
only because they don't have $1,000 bills anymore.
They can't avoid making money, even in an association or a league that's set up with such lack of parity. Therefore, the owners are going to be like, you know what? It's good for business. Even if we have to lose on a regular basis.
Okay, you're 1,000% right.
It's good for business.
But these guys are all egomaniacs. Don't they want to win anymore?
They want money more than they want to win. Sorry.
It's pretty sad.
Sorry. Here's my point, Les.
Yeah.
And to the viewers. Think of the four majors, okay? You'll throw hockey in just to satisfy the NHL. How many owners of professional teams in those four sports are eager to unload their franchise right about now, Les?
Well, no.
How many of them want to get rid of their franchise?
I don't see any standing in line.
I'm waiting.
Nothing but crickets. No, you're right. If they're losing money, they want to unload, right?
They're all crying poverty.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
Oh, we don't have this and we don't have that and you don't understand. This revenue's down. Are you selling? Heck to the no. They're not selling because they're making money.
And
That's
by the
why.
way, that includes your Cleveland Indians.
And they know the minute they sell, they're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars on that transaction.
All right, talking about the NBA getting to the court, who's the best current duo in the NBA? We asked our listeners that. Who's the best current duo?
I wrote some down.
All right, what do you have?
Kawhi and Paul George, LeBron and AD, Giannis and Middleton. Really, Giannis and anybody, but Middleton's a quality player. Embiid and Simmons, Steph and Clay. Not necessarily in that order. Just
Brandon Buckley apparently does not listen well. He named an entire team, the Rockets with Westbrook, James-Harden, Clint Capella, and P.J. Tucker. Well, four starters on that one. Rick May says, I'd have to go with Kawhi-Leonard and Paul George on the Clippers. Leonard just won a title for the Raptors, and George survived Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City, and both are two-way players. They play offense and defense, which is becoming rare these days. Wayne Richard Lyons says, I'd go with Leonard and George. Rare when NBA stars want to play both ends of the court. This duo will. Frank Oswald says, Love and the other guy.
And listen to me, for the ability to score, Lou Williams as your so-called third guy for the Clippers, it's fantastic. I'm not saying he's, absolutely an elite player, but he is a terrific scorer, and he complements the Clippers' big two incredibly well. Meanwhile, don't sleep on LeBron, AD, and Kyle Kuzma.
You have Kuzma ranked that high as a third guy?
Well, he's not a third guy as in Kyrie, LeBron, and Love, or Pierce, Garnett, and Allen. But
why would they even keep Rajon Rondo?
Kuzma's a nice player. Probably because LeBron knows that when Rondo has the ball, he's going to not shoot.
He also knows when the game is on the line, he's the distributor and he's the guy making the play, not Rondo.
Yeah, LeBron is a point forward and our point guard. He will run the team when it's necessary. I think LeBron also likes the tough guy attitude of Rajon Rondo.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to BP and Pepper Pike. BP, how are you? You gave us a little more time tonight. I appreciate it very much.
No, thank you. Good evening to you and Dennis. It's a great topic. I like the previous caller mentioned something about like NBA work stoppage, and actually I looked it up myself, and I think the next CBA comes up like around 2023, which is still 4 years from now. But I really feel that I kind of agree with that last caller that, you know, the NBA, the owners should look into this. I don't care how much money they're making. I mean, you got, you know, most of the power is centralized around 4 or 5 teams, and then, you know, all these small market teams are getting crushed.
Yeah, but they don't care. The commissioner
well, I
doesn't.
think they do, because let's say you're a season ticket holder in Oklahoma City. Are you going to go to any games this coming year? What about Cleveland? What about, you know, Sacramento hasn't made the playoffs
Because
in like 10 years.
BP, I think they still get their TV money no matter how many teams are in the hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying the owners might, you know, be making some money, but you know, if the fans don't show up to the games, if there's no hope for the teams, if there's no competitive balance, like what's the point?
All right, hold on.
The NFL, say what you want, but at least there's a lot of parity.
All right, hang in there. Hold on.
The perfect example of a guy who would have sold if the state of the league was disastrous is Dan Gilbert post LeBron. Okay? You can argue he should have sold right after they won the title because his franchise was never going to be valued higher. But certainly when LeBron left for the second time, if you're Dan Gilbert and your franchise is in a terrible spot and you're sick of the way the NBA is set up, you're gonna sell that franchise and still make gazillion dollars. But guess what? Dan Gilbert didn't.
Well, they don't all make it on a totally business decision. If they love owning a team, which is an ego thing, there are better ways to make money than having a sports franchise.
If there was ever a time for an owner to see the writing on the wall and realize, you know what, we're going to be losing for a long time here now that LeBron's left the building
but
twice.
we're going to put a lot of people in the seats.
But BP mentioned it. The Sacramento ownership. I don't know exactly. Is it the Maloof brothers still? I'm not even sure.
No, it's that wealthy, like an Indian type of Indian guy, very like a billionaire Indian. You know, I forgot his name, like Vivek, something like that.
So BP, I assume the Indian guy purchased it from the Maloofs?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, you think the Maloofs went to the poorhouse after that sale?
No, they had casinos, right?
I agree with what you're saying. And Dan Gilbert is such a competitive guy. I think he wants to try to get these Cavs to the playoffs, you know, without LeBron. You know, I don't think he's not a quitter. He doesn't want to, well, LeBron left me a second time, I'm going to sell the team. Dan Gilbert is a fighter, and I do admire him for that. You know, and now obviously he's got some health concerns as well. But, you know, the thing is, you know, it's just very frustrating where, you know, like think if you're in Oklahoma City, you know, one day you have Paul George, Russell Westbrook, a good team, you know, a top 4 or 5 team in the West, and all of a sudden overnight, Paul George is running off to join Kawhi-Leonard in the LA Clippers. You know,
yeah, we only think of Cleveland and LeBron, but you look at other franchises, they some of them have it worse, believe it or not. BP, we got to move on. Thank you for the call. You catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday evening with a post time of 6 p.m. That's at Northfield Park. And the weekly Sunday contest with the top prize of $500 each and every week. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Don't forget, you've got the Bud Light patio parties every Friday through September. The outdoor patio every Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy the beer specials, the outdoor grilling, live racing, and a chance to win some great prizes, all from Northfield Park. We're coming back one more time. We'll check in on some How Come Quickies and more. Dennis-Manoloff with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty, moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature's Stone installed by the end of July and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at nature's-stone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. We'll be back next Monday. Doug Maurice from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com.
Love D-Lay.
It's terrific. We'll talk some Ohio State. We'll talk Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Indians, you name it. It's a favorite part of my show, D-Man. No, not the one that says there's only 5 minutes or so left. The one that says we turn it over to the listeners for How Come Quickies. Buckeye Bob checks in with one. How come if you make soup from a funny bone, is it still called a laughing stock?
That's very good. That's an 8.5.
Do you know where Engagement, Ohio is? Any idea? It's between Dayton and Marion. Bob says he loves the show, watches every day. This one I can't tell who it's from. You're good at this. You could probably tell me who it's from. No name on it. Right? No name on it. Can't tell. How come the third hand on a watch is called the second hand?
7. I've heard that before.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't use the last one. The last one's good, but I can't use it. Don't read it out loud. Just read it. It's good. We all admit it's good, but we can't use it.
Terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
John Coleman. I love this one. Did the man who coined the phrase one-hit wonder ever coin another phrase?
9.
9. Oh, it's even better than that in my book. I don't have a book, but Mr. Gullible checks in today. How come I was a lousy lumberjack, so they gave me the axe? I'm not even going to dignify the next one.
6.5.
I mean, he's going to get mad at me, and I know he writes me when I don't read his things, and he writes me, explains why I should, and he goes through the whole litany. The reason, there's 2 reasons, right? It's not funny. That's number 1, is it? Or
I'm
is
laughing, but it's not funny.
Okay, but there's 2 reasons why he can't talk me into it. Number 1, it's called More Sports and Less Levine, right? That's for starters. And number 2, I like being More Sports and Less Levine. I don't want to take any other chances. John Patrick gets it. How come when my wife said she wanted peace and quiet while she was making dinner, I unplugged the smoke alarm?
I mean, that's all right. 8.
8.
Not going to work well with your wife, though.
No, all in all, it was a very good batch, though.
Yeah, good batch.
All right. As the Indians have their 4th game in a row. By the way, somebody said they kept the game 2 alive way too long with the rain, and they should have called it before the game was official. No, you're getting into the end of the season.
Team up 7-0 after 3.
Yeah, and you're a contender. You want to give them every chance, especially when you know it's going to stop. It's not like it's going to keep going past midnight.
That's correct.
The only problem with that, I hate to see a game with 0 people in the stands. You watch it. Obviously, people have to leave. They don't know. They don't have Doppler weather forecasts on their phones, or maybe they do. But
yeah, when we were kids,
what you hate to see though is people spending so much money on tickets and concessions, and then not have a legitimate legal game.
We used to root for rain delays because of that very reason. People would leave the park, give us a better opportunity for foul balls. Yeah.
Oh, foul balls.
And to move down.
Yeah. And you could sit where you thought the foul balls were coming.
Correct.
That's a good point. back in the day when hot dogs were about a quarter, back in the 60s, we used to have 4 or 5 of them on the way out the door because it was a long walk to the rapid transit station. All right, what do you expect here? Game 4, the Indians and the Detroit Tigers, and then it's Kansas City coming in for 3 over the weekend.
I mean, when I looked at this series, I said 3 out of 4 because I don't, it's hard to say a team's going to sweep anybody.
Trevor-Bauer. You got to be 4 for 4.
But yeah, they got the first 3, and Trevor-Bauer, it's time. It's time for you to pitch a shutout. Let's go, even if it's 1-0.
If you're in front of the computer sometime and you have absolutely nothing to do, take a look at the Indians' all-time record and the Tigers' all-time record since 1940. The two teams have never been good together and never been bad together. No. It's uncanny.
You told me that a couple weeks ago.
Well, that's your homework assignment. All right, when we come back here next Thursday, you'll be here.
Oh, what is the deficit going to be?
Will the Indians be in first? Will the Indians be in first place in the division?
No, I still think
who did the Twins have after the A's?
I'll say it's a 2-game lead.
Who did the Twins have after the 4 games?
Another decent team, I want to say, after this.
How about Houston?
Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. It is somebody good, though.
I thought the Braves, they got to play the Braves, and they have to deal with the Red Sox. But
I say by the time you and I are together next Thursday, the Indians will be in first place in the division.
Wow.
Yeah, why not? What can they do to me if they're not?
I mean,
they just have a swagger about them that they didn't have before.
It's starting to come around. I mean, to loosely quote Lou Brown, they're starting to come together. You see the pieces parts. You see Ramirez getting. I liked what Mike said about Tyler Naquin.
Right.
I mean, did you expect Tyler Naquin to have a 5-game multi-hit streak?
No. By the way, the Twins then play the Yankees.
Is that it?
Yeah. A's and then the Yankees.
I mean, but again, the Twins are saying weather this storm out of the break, and then it's easy for the rest of the way.
Right. However, it's still 10 games between the two.
Yeah. I still think the Twins will be leading the Indians when we sit here next week, but it'll be 1 or 2 games.
I say the opposite. All right, are you on WTAM between now and then?
No. I have a little
time off. Well-deserved time off
before it starts hitting in August again.
Excellent. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Dennis-Manoloff. I'll see you on Monday. Dave Bacon tomorrow night. Monday night, Doug Maurice will join us from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.